ॐ आप्यायन्तु ममाङ्गानि वाक्प्राणश्चक्षुश्रोत्रमथो बलमिन्द्रियाणि च सर्वाणि सर्वं ब्रह्मोपनिषदम् माहं ब्रह्म निराकुर्याम् मा ब्रह्म निराकरोत् अनिराकरणमस्तु अनिराकरणं मेस्तु तदात्मनि निरते य उपनिषत्सु धर्मास्ते मयि सन्तु ते मयि सन्तु ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः ॐ May all my limbs attain strength. May the body, the mind, all the sensory and motor organs and the life force become powerful and efficient. All is verily the one without second, all pervading, ever blissful, ever perfect, existence itself called Brahman. May I never deny Brahman. May the Brahman never reject me either. May all the virtues needed to experience the Brahman in life be with me. Om peace, peace, peace. Let us try to feel the oneness of the blissful, all-pervading existence, the Brahman, by imagining that each of us is an ice cube in a huge heap of ice cubes. I am an ice cube. I am identified with my size and shape. I am very proud about it. Proud of my looks, proud about my individual strength. I become related to some other ice cubes in the heap. Some I get connected to as my parents, some others as my siblings, some others as my friends, my colleagues, neighbors, some others are my enemies. I think I am one special in this heap. Others are different from me. Kept in the warm weather. Gradually the heap starts melting. I realize I am losing my shape. My size is reducing too. All that I was so proud of was getting melted. I am feeling the difference is vanishing. I am sensing the intrinsic oneness in everything. I have melted completely. There is no separate I. All is just one without second existence. There are no desires. For I am all that is. I also am seeing that I am intrinsically full of bliss. No object or no person can add anything to my perfect bliss itself. Just as sugar doesn't need to be added by anything to make it sweeter. It is sweet. So I am bliss itself. Om. Peace. 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 So, dear friends, today we shall be now beginning with our 177th class of this series on Srimad Bhagavatam, a great text which comprises of supreme knowledge and supreme devotion together. It is called this set of scriptures is called Puranas. The Hindu scripture system has three layers. One is called Shruti, that consists of Upanishads, and some also add Bhagavad Gita to it, justifiably. So, that is one set of scriptures called Shruti, which is philosophical and impersonal in nature and has the highest authority. Then there are Smritis. Smritis are where people want to lead a religious life but are not really interested in philosophy. You don't find people much interested in reading philosophy. In all libraries, you will see only the dust particles seem to like the books on philosophy. Nobody seems to read them much. Because it is tough, they are useful for this medicine, for sleeplessness, and so after reading 2 pages, your head start getting drowsy, you fall asleep. So most people will not go to read those philosophical texts. But still they want to lead a religious life. And for them, okay, what they want basically is do's and don't do's. To lead religious life, what should I do and what should I not do? It is, sometimes I compare it like they say the science and technology of computers, building computers. Now, amongst the millions and millions, hundreds of millions of users of computers, how many really know anything of how a computer is made, what is a software, hardware, this, they hear only the words. They don't know anything about it. And this didn't know computer, that is why it screamed. So, and they don't need to know. All they need for the use is just some operating instructions, operating manual. That kind of scripture they need, and they are happy with that scripture. So, as in religion also, my head is not capable of understanding all those high philosophical points. Just tell me what should I do, what should I not do. These are called smritis. And they change according to the time. Time, place, person, these things change. You can imagine, for example, theory of computers hasn't changed much. When one computer used to be, like of this size of this hall, and now you put it in a pocket that much. So it is, the manual for that computer will not be useful for a modern computer. Manuals change. The theory remains more or less same. So it is like that. The Shrutis, the Upanishads and Bhagavad Gita, they are true, they are applicable during ancient times, modern times. They are applicable whether you are in India, whether you are in USA, or even if you go to stay on moon, they will be applicable. But the smritis change according to the time and place. So that is another set of scriptures that people follow as to when should I get up, how should I, get married, how I should train my children, and all those things, they come under this uh, title of Smritis. Puranas is a completely different kind of text. It is the same philosophical deep truths. They are explained or presented through very interesting stories. When things are told through stories, everybody wants to hear. They will, okay, yes, let me know the story. If the story is just half finished, no, finish it completely. I want to finish. Get the story. Story is liked by all. And so, this technique is used to present the great Upanishadic truths to common people through stories. It is stories are, like the needles that you inject medicine with. The medicine, it is not easy always to get inside the body. So you take it in that syringe and push it through the needle into the body. The needle comes out, the medicine remains inside. Medicine works inside. That is what is needed. The medicine should be there inside to work. The needle comes out. So the story comes out. But through that story, these great truths have been instilled and they work. Most of our day, in any country, in any religion, you will find that it all is described through stories. Uh, Even like, for example, Old Testament. It is the story of the Genesis, how Adam and Eve, how did they have a fall, why did they eat the tree, that fruit of the forbidden tree, and so forth. So the stories, they become interesting. Jesus said, therefore, that I teach in parables. That in thus you will see the stories is the way of teaching. Buddha, all Jataka stories, parables, they abound, and through that the great truths are presented. Uh, we have the Puranas, very popular, very highly popular things. The Nobody may know much about Upanishads, but they know a bit about Mahabharata and Ramayana. Hardly a person would be found who doesn't know about it. Because they are attractive, so people push the spiritual truths very wisely through those stories so that a common person will be able to get those. This is a wonderful technique, friends. So, here in Bhagavatam, that is done. So, let us begin at the beginning, means chanting the opening chant, which happens to be the first verse of this great treatise, Srimad Bhagavatam. So, recite as loudly as you can. जन्माद्यस्य यतोऽन्वयादितरत चार्थेष्वभिज्ञस्वराट् तेने ब्रह्महृदाय आदिकवये मुह्यन्ति यत्सूरयः तेजो वारिमृदां यथा विनिमयो यत्र त्रिसर्गो मृषा धाम्ना स्वेन सदा निरस्तकुहकं सत्यं परं धीमहि. That from whom creation, sustenance and dissolution of the universe take place, who is both the instrumental and material cause of it, who is omniscient, is the only one having self-mastery, being the one independent entity, who illumined the mind of Brahma with the Vedic revelation, whose wisdom is the wonder of even the greatest sages, in whom the world of three gunas subsists, just as the combination of materials like fire, water, and earth subsist in their causes without changing their elemental nature, in whose consciousness there is nothing false. On that truth supreme we meditate. In the whole treatise of Bhagavatam, the main idea that penetrates into every single story is that we meditate on the truth supreme. Truth supreme is the truth that does not depend on any relative context. In the world, what we see are the relative truths which change as according to the context. That, for example, it is relative to where you are, that it is night. That it is evening, not night, evening, not morning. But in Australia it is morning. So the truths here, the truth is yes, it is evening. This in Australia the truth will be it is morning. One uh, lady was working from here, but her work was all over the globe. So when she would get a call, she would say, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are. Because this is a relative truth. Changes according to the time, place, and so forth. The truths about, for example, the science, they depend on the context of our sense organs, and therefore they are applied to human beings, and that too they change because we get only something limited that is subject to change. So that is therefore not a supreme truth. The supreme truth is that which will be applicable all the time and everywhere. It is free from context. So it is just to give an example that certain things you can you know that it is there by irrefutable experience. I am. I am. That example is very good. I am. Everybody knows, isn't it? What Salil Maharaj? Do you know? I am. Yes or no? Yes, yes. Say loudly. Yes. It is. You know that I am. So it is a known thing, but you cannot have any sense perception of it. You cannot see I, you cannot hear I. It is not, one is not able to have any sense perception of it. In fact, it is the reverse, that all senses they do their function because of this I behind them. This I is the actually the inspirer, propeller of all the senses. But therefore I cannot be perceived by any of the sense. So it is thus, it is the truth, one example of truth supreme. I am. And therefore, in Vedanta, the inquiry begins with this who am I? Atma Vidya. It is called Atma Vidya, knowledge of this self. So, uh, it is truth supreme. So even Socrates said before his death, immediately just before his death, that know thyself. That is the supreme knowledge. Know thyself. It is supreme truth. Once you know that, you know everything. And if I don't know that, then my whatever I know is maybe true now. After some time, it will not remain true anymore. So, therefore, this is the truth supreme we meditate. And in this context, we were studying the social structures that this to experience, to realize the truth supreme, and which is also called God. God is the truth supreme, the goal supreme, the best, the uh, according to that great philosopher Plotinus, the word good is condensed into God, the highest good is God. So that God, the truth supreme, that is to be, worked on, to be experienced as we live in this social structure. Human beings, as we are social animals, we live in societies and we form civilizations. So, and thus we develop ourselves on various levels. Like there is this material development, then there is all the development of various types of knowledge, arts, and so forth. And then there is this spiritual development. We want to ultimately know the supreme truth, the self. So, the society should be built on the lines where everybody, whatever stage of life that person may be, whatever may be the aptitudes, capabilities of that person may be, that person still will have the chance to experience this ultimate truth, which is the goal of all. So, to build this kind of social system in Vedanta disciplines, it is called Varnashrama discipline. There is the Varna and there is the Ashrama. Hmm. Varna depends, we saw that earlier. Varna depends on the aptitudes, the combination of what is called gunas. According to the gunas and how you work them out, guna karma vibhagashah, as Bhagavad Gita says, that decides the varna. It should not be confused with what is called jati. And jati, it is sometimes in English both these words, varna and jati, both are translated as caste, and that creates lot of confusion. So this varna is the four broad classifications are there, but they are not absolute classifications, because there are every varna will have sub varnas. And that is there is a change because it depends on the gunas. If one reads the 14th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, you will see that the gunas, they are not a permanent structure like that. As gunas, they change. Even in the morning, you may have the preponderance of one of the sattva, rajas, tamas. In the evening, it may change. You were feeling very calm, quiet, nice. You were having all the noble thoughts. You didn't have any feeling of sense desires then. So this sattva was more uh, dominant then. But then, if the evening comes, and then lot of desires they start bubbling up. Now the rajas takes predominance. It is then after running about and going to parties and dancing and all that, then you feel tired. Enough, let me sleep. So the tamas becomes predominant. So it is not therefore very watertight compartmentalization. It is, there are the overlaps. These are the general, these rules prescribed. Like when you determine a disease, in a general way you may say, well, this looks like malaria. But then there are hundreds of other things that can appear like that. You never know. It is a general classification. So, this is a general classification of one's capabilities, potentials, aptitudes. So, uh, according to that aptitude, that person should proceed and thus will be able to realize ultimately the same goal. Now, there is this system of ashrama that is based on the age. Every age has certain special features, and that has to be guided. We saw earlier that there is the brahmacharya ashrama. Then it skipped at that time the description of grihastha ashrama. It took up, this book took it up as vanaprastha ashrama. Brahmacharya, vanaprastha, sannyasa, and then it is describing the grihastha ashrama. Uh, they, it is normally, chronologically speaking, it is the brahmacharya ashrama first. Then learning, all the that developing virtues, developing learning. While developing the learning, one should restrain the potential that or the desires for enjoyment. It is, otherwise they interfere with the learning process. That it is, if you want pleasure, then you have to give up learning. If you want to learn, then you have to give up pleasures. That is a very nice Sanskrit couplet that was in our schools. So it is that very important thing. So develop. Then you give some vent to your pleasure instinct and then accumulate money because that requires money. Have family, have do your duties according to that in the family, in the society, and all that. So, and then while doing that, keep don't forget the goal. That and thus at a time change to what is called vanaprastha. After about 25 30 years of grihastha earning money, rearing the family, and now you should see that the goal of life is to be realized. So learn detaching and learn detachment. Very important thing. And so that was told, Vanaprastha. And we saw that how in the modern times the old models they change. It is, but the principles remain the same. These are whatever was told earlier, the principle is the same. Lifestyle has changed. So, in the new lifestyle, you have to show how those principles can be implemented. And then sannyasa, same thing, sannyasa life. We saw that the idea is give up everything, that all that is transitory, and completely remove yourself from that. Do not aspire for anything. Hold on to the truth. Uh, and thus, this is the life of sannyasa. But in the old format, the principles remain the same, like discernment and dispassion is in the olden times and in the modern times also. That is the fundamental principle that is to be held on to. But the practical practices differ, details differ. And so, sannyasa, as practiced in different ages, the great sages gave different meaning to that. In our times, Sri Ramakrishna and Vivekananda ushered a new system of sannyasa life. And I had quoted from this wonderful lecture of his titled Sannyasa, its ideal and practice. It is actually just an extract of his short lecture. That is how that in the book it begins. That he says, it is said that the uh, extract of Swami Vivekananda's short lecture uh, before he left for the second tour of United States, the western lands basically. So it is all when he was going for that, this lecture was given, a short lecture. He begins it, there is no time to give a big lecture, but let me tell you a few things about the monastic life. And he says, those of you who are sannyasins must try to do good to others. That is the ideal, the practice. For sannyasa means that I shall very briefly characterize it as the love of death. And that he immediately mentions that does not mean committing suicide. Far from it. What is love of death then? We must die, that is certain. Hmm. Actually, nobody needs to commit suicide because we are going to die anyway, isn't it? So why take the trouble of committing suicide? Ah, whatever is going to happen automatically, no need to take any special effort for that. We are going to die. And then why commit suicide? Why make special efforts for doing that? Foolish. So it is. But what is the proper way of living? That we should die to all selfishness, die to all ignorant ideas about life. So, thus it is said, die then for a good cause. Let all our actions, eating, drinking, and everything that we do tend towards the sacrifice of our this little self. That is the meaning of sannyasa, and it then that got translated into various service activities being done by Ramakrishna Mission in all different places. It is therefore he gave the motto that is Atmano Mokshartham Jagad Hitaya Cha. for the liberation of oneself and for the good of the society. So, this is the way the sannyasins they do work. There is a very nice incident that this idea was completely disliked by most those monastic orders at that time. They said, no, this is not what we should be doing. And in fact, the Swamis who were doing service to the patients in the northern India, that Haridwar and Kankhal, there we still have that hospital there going on, very big. So it is in that it was started by the two Swamis, disciples of Vivekananda, Kalyanananda and Nishchayananda. So they were uh, called that they are the janitor Swamis, Bhangi Swamis. They are not really sannyasis at all. In fact, many of those Swamis told everybody, hey, don't give them alms, they are not real Swamis at all. But they continued their work. There was one very well-known Swami there, Dhanaraj Giri, and he scolded all of them. No, they are the real sannyasis. It is they are to be respected, and uh, gradually all you will see now, no religious order in India, no religious organization is without this public service component to it. So it is those all those old monastic orders, they at one time used to oppose this new type of monastic life. Uh, During the centenary of Swami Vivekananda, all of those sannyasi orders, they together came forward, made a contribution to put a very beautiful this statue of Swami Vivekananda in that Kankhal hospital. You can see that. So that is how this society gradually comes to accept this. But this is how the modern way of sannyasis, keeping the ancient values. There is a beautiful, 4-volume book of Swami Ranganathananda. He used to be our president and a very influential orator. Uh, his book is, the title is great. It says eternal values for the changing society. Eternal values for the changing society. Society will keep on changing. One should not try to stop that change. It will change. It has been changing in the past, and so it will continue in the future also. It is foolishness to stop that change, because society, its nature is to change. What should be held on to? That which is eternal, eternal values for the changing society. So this is the distinction between, the what is to be held on to, and give it a form that will be suitable to the present times. So you will see now the grihastha, householder, that is described at the end, probably because this conversation is going on between Narada and Yudhishthira, who was a grihastha. So to create more emphasis, it was given at the end. Most important of all these other ashramas, because all other three ashramas get sustenance from grihastha ashrama. So, in that sense, grihastha ashrama is the most important one. So, now this grihastha ashrama has its duties. The meaning of ashrama, this word ashrama, is a very significant, very important word. Ashrama means working. Shrama means to work, to put in labor. Shrama. Ashrama means in a particular discipline, in a proper, well defined manner, you put in efforts, then that becomes ashrama. There is a humorous definition given by somebody that those swamis, they live in ashrama, they don't have any other work. So that is why ashrama means their work is to just do that is ashrama. They don't do any other work but just eat and talk. So doing is the only shrama that they do. So it is, but that is humor. The idea is there is a discipline to that. It is not that you just come together and lead whatever, do whatever you want. No, it has a particular discipline following which one will advance towards the goal of life. The goal is same. Like if you are climbing on a mountain, you can climb in various different ways. Somebody can, very with strong lungs and good legs, would walk straight up with the steep path on a steep path. The others will take easier paths. They will go around. It is, yeah, there is that story of that man, so expert. He just climbed that El Capitan, that steep rock, tall, just like that. And everybody was so surprised. How did you come? Just I walked up. Oh, very, it is a great challenge to do that. But that if you are not able to do that, there are ways you can go around that and come. Somebody can go by car on those roads. Somebody can just use a helicopter and go. So there are different ways. So this householder's path is there, that okay, what is this householder's life is mostly in every human society there is the problem of giving a controlled, responsible expression to the unstoppable sex urge, so that humans grow in number and the social order is maintained while directing this urge gradually in a higher spiritual direction. That is the purpose of having a householder's life, that there are the responsibilities associated with it, in and one has to find, this is a challenge always, to how to direct this tremendous energy, that it is that governs everything, that all our actions somehow or other, this idea of having sexual contact enters most of the times without even our knowing it. So it is so strong. It is the main force of proliferating life on this planet. So therefore this force has to be given a proper direction. Those who take a monastic life, they therefore give it a direction towards God. I will love God alone. And thus, it is said, there are different terminologies that they give a direction upwards to this force through the Sushumna canal of Kundalini. So that is a monastic life. But almost 99.9% people are not uh, temperamentally going to do that. They want the enjoyment, that there is so much of desire for it. You cannot really prevent it. If you try to prevent, it will be morbid something. So unless you give it a strong higher push, it is going to have its impact. So therefore, the best way for majority of people is to give it a direction, proper direction and discipline. Okay, you will have the pleasures of this life, as well as you will then have to, every pleasure means you have to pay, isn't it, for that. So you will, pleasure has the pain and bondage component associated with it. You can't escape. Like you go to a restaurant, you order a dish you like, and then there is the bill. You have to pay that also. So it is like that. Every single pleasure has this component. So there is nothing that comes for free. So, okay, while you have this, there is this grahastha ashrama. While enjoying family life in the company of spouse and children, parents, other relations, one should never neglect the need to develop detachment. One should still emphasize the truth. The truth doesn't change. We have to change our life according to the truth. Truth doesn't change. You may say that this is mine. It is. This text says that even, say, your spouse, even about your spouse, don't aspire to, that, don't think, don't assume that that is mine. Because actually it is not. It is, you have some association, but that doesn't belong to you. It is, you should therefore see that practicing, and that it is not mine. Do your duties. Do your, that whatever the life demands, continue with that. Uh, but know that it is not mine. That has to be there, because it is the truth. And nothing belongs to us at all. Even the body, this body, does it belong to me? Think about it. It does not belong to me. What to speak of something connected with this body? How can it ever belong to me? So, therefore, practice detachment and know that these things are all impermanent. They come and go. That, as Bhagavad Gita says, Anityam asukham lokam imam prapya bhajasva mam. Lord is telling Arjuna that, look, all these things are impermanent, anityam, and they don't stay too long. That the person who is very youthful, very nice looking, very proud of being pretty and handsome and all that. After a few years, the face gets wrinkled, the black hair turns grey. Even if you apply paint and all that, it doesn't really hide everything. So uh, it is impermanent. It is going to happen to everybody. So know that it is not permanent, and the death is coming. Sooner or later, it will be all death. So know that. And there is no pleasure in it. That it is, you go for pleasure, but what you get is pain. That is how this life is. That you cannot stop because you see the pleasure. Your face lights up, eyes become very eager to grasp that. You move forward, and then you get pain, frustration, and that is how for some it takes long time to realize, some realize it fast. So that is to be seen, and therefore one must, practice religious disciplines even in the householder's life. Practice, every day at my home, every day it used to be a compulsion for children that there would be evening prayers. Everybody would sit and do the prayers, and uh, just to get some that this is all is impermanent. This is the permanent thing. It should not be just an empty ritual, but there should be this awareness that it is all going to go away. So in uh, the the disciplines, the principle is the same for all times. Learning to control the pleasure instinct, remembering that bondage and pain are lurking behind it. Hmm. Like a mouse, you put a trap, and then there is the very lucrative, attractive piece of butter or something put there for the that mouse sees that and doesn't see the trap and goes and gets caught. So we also human beings, they get trapped like that in the hope of pleasures. So therefore it is that bondage and pain are lurking behind it while performing the duties of family and society and directing it to the ultimate goal of life, God. And that is how one should lead a householder's life. Sri Ramakrishna, in the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, a great treatise mainly for the householders. Sri Ramakrishna has householder disciples and monastic disciples. So, when he used to give advice, specially meant for monastics, he would go around and see that no householder is around, because that is a very special advice for them alone, and therefore that is not written in books. It is. But Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna was given to the householder M, who recorded it. So they were all householder devotees. And yet it is so powerful, as if a householder is becoming a monastic by applying the proper understanding. Not externally monastic, internally monastic. So that is what he said to disciples. You don't have to become a monk from outside. Yours is the inner sannyasa. Take to monastic discipline from inside. And when somebody would ask, can a householder realize God? He never said no. Yes, of course. Of course. He said, do work. What is householder's life? You have certain works to do. It is working is important in householder's life. If you don't work, you have not much respect. Imagine a husband tells wife, "Oh my darling, I love you so much, but I will not do any work." What will the wife say? Enough of your love, go and do some work, you see. It is because in householder's life it is work that is important, isn't it, Ishani? Yeah, it is enough of love, she will say that, oh, go and do work, don't sit like a lazy couch potato. So, it is important, householder's life has duties. And so said, Sri Ramakrishna said, do your work like a nanny does. Never think that the children are yours. Nanny does everything. But she knows that they are not my children after all. So that is how one should work. That it is not mine, it belongs to somebody. And then another analogy he gives, that let the boat be in the water, but make sure that water doesn't get into the boat. May you live in the world, but see that the world doesn't enter you. So these are the some of the great lessons of householder's life. And we shall conclude this chapter, and the next chapter is Narada is telling Yudhishthira that in uh, all these ashramas, they are meant to guide a person towards the ultimate spiritual goal. So, we shall conclude with the closing chant, and after that, if you have any question, feel free to voice them or to type them. निगमकल्पतरोर्गलितं फलं शुकमुखादमृतद्रवसंयुतं पिबत भागवतं रसमालयं मुहुरहो रसिका भुवि भावुकाः. O devotees, quaff to intoxication this nectar of the fruit of the tree of Vedas, flowing from the mouth of the great sage Shuka and mixed with the ambrosia from his words. Any question or comment? Yes, our Adi Maharaj has a question.
I had read that it is sort of dharmically illegal to go back in the varnas, like if you, or in the ashramas, like if you progress from brahmacharya to grihastha, you're not allowed to go back, and same with the other stages. And so I'm wondering why that is.
Yeah, it is. You got an opportunity, and now you make good use of it and move forward. Move forward. So, like that, ultimately everybody should become a sannyasi, a monastic. And that is what everybody should become. When you lead the life through these stages, one should learn. The experience is meant to teach us, isn't it? Experience, what does it do? It teaches us. So we see that this householder's life, I got into so many entanglements, attachments, so bondages piled and piled and piled. I So it teaches us that there is no pleasure there. I have tried and now I know there is no pleasure in it, and so withdraw. You practice that detachment in the what is called vanaprastha, the forest dwellers way. The attachments are still there, but you are working to remove those, remove this I and mine, and then give up everything. So that is how. But therefore, this book says that one can go if you get the detachment early enough from this brahmacharya, ashrama brahmacharya level, you can take double promotion, triple promotion, and go to monastic life directly. Mm. It is some very bright students do that. That in a 3 years course or 4 years course they finish in 1 year. One of our devotees' son did that very fast. He didn't spend 4 years in high school, completed in 2 years. So it is, and went to college. So there is the he thinks the 4 years of undergrad course he will max take 2 years. So there are some very brilliant people. So they can just become, oh, I saw there is nothing really worth possessing here. And then they go to monastic life directly. It is not that everybody has to go through these stages. Any other question? Any question upstairs? No question. So let us conclude with our closing chant. मुकुंद माधव गोविंद बोल, केशव माधव हरि हरि बोल। मुकुंद माधव गोविंद बोल, केशव माधव हरि हरि बोल। हरि हरि बोल, हरि हरि बोल, हरि हरि बोल, हरि हरि बोल। कृष्ण कृष्ण बोल, कृष्ण कृष्ण बोल, कृष्ण कृष्ण बोल, कृष्ण कृष्ण बोल। मुकुंद माधव गोविंद बोल, केशव माधव हरि हरि बोल, केशव माधव हरि हरि बोल।